An endless expanse of crystalline shelves, stretching in all directions up, down, sideways, defying all geometry. The shelves are not made of wood or metal, but of solidified light, each one humming with a frequency that resonates at the edge of perception. Beings of pure light drift between the shelves like silent librarians, their forms shifting between humanoid and abstract, their movements slow and deliberate, as if they have all of eternity and intend to use every moment of it. Each being tends to crystals that pulse with the knowledge of civilizations. Some crystals are the size of a fist, others the size of a mountain, all of them containing the sum total of lives lived, wars fought, loves lost, discoveries made, empires built and crumbled. At the center of this infinity, a single figure sits cross-legged, floating in meditation. Kai. He is no longer the man who entered this place. His posture is different, straighter, more grounded, yet somehow less rigid. His hands rest on his knees in a mudra that hasn't been used by any human civilization because he invented it himself, unconsciously, during his first century here. His breathing is so slow that an observer might think him dead 1 breath per hour, each inhale drawing in not air but understanding, each exhale releasing not carbon dioxide but confusion, doubt, the remnants of old selves he no longer needs. Crystals orbit him like planets around a sun. Hundreds of them. Thousands. They move in perfect synchronization, their orbits so precise that they never collide, never even come close. Every few moments, though moments are meaningless here, one drifts close enough to touch his forehead. When it does, his eyes flash with absorbed knowledge. Millions of years of history, compressed into an instant of understanding. The crystal then dims slightly, its knowledge transferred, and drifts away to make room for the next. Kai's voice is deeper now, touched by eternity, resonant in a way that suggests he has spoken to beings who forgot they could speak. Time has no meaning here. I learned that lesson in the first. I don't know how long, hours, days, centuries. The crystal library of Zoth exists outside the flow of normal reality. The beings who tend it, the archivists, I've started calling them, they don't experience time at all. They simply are. They have always been here. They will always be here. They have never left, and they have never wanted to leave. Kai pauses as his lips twitch, almost forming a smile. As he begins to speak, I asked one of them, once, how long they'd been doing this. It turned to me, I think it was confused by the question. Then it projected an image into my mind, a universe being born, expanding, cooling, forming stars, forming life, then that universe dying, collapsing back into itself and being born again. That image repeated, thousands of times. Millions. It stopped when I withdrew my question. I don't think it was trying to give me a number. I think it was trying to tell me that numbers don't apply to what it does. Kai looks older not in years but in wisdom. His eyes hold depths they didn't before. There are no wrinkles on his skin, no gray in his hair. His cultivation prevents that, but there is something behind his eyes that was not there when he entered. A weight, a knowing. The look of someone who has seen too much to ever be surprised again. I have been here for what feels like weeks, months, years, centuries. I have lost count. The stone sends crystals to me and I absorb them, one after another, after another, after another. The history of 50 galaxies, the rise and fall of 1,000 empires, the nature of realms I cannot yet touch, the truth about the emergence that destroyed my world. All of it, flowing into me like water into a vessel that never fills. A crystal touches his forehead. He gasps a sharp intake of breath that echoes through the infinite library. The archivist nearest to him pauses in its duties, turning to observe. The crystal, unlike the others, does not dim after transferring its knowledge. Instead, it glows brighter, then shatters into 1,000 fragments that orbit Kai's head like a crown of light. Kai's voice stained as he speaks. That one was different. That one wasn't knowledge. That one was memory, not my memory. Someone else's. Someone who lived 1 billion years ago. In a galaxy that no longer exists. They were happy. They were in love. They had children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. They watched their civilization reach for the stars. They watched it fall. They were the last one. The last being from their species. They recorded their life, every moment of it, into this crystal, hoping that someone, someday, would remember them. I remember them now. All of them. Every face. Every name. Every joy and every grief. I am their historian now. I am the one who carries them forward. Kai's voice cracks slightly. A single crystalline chime different from before. Deeper, more significant. It resonates through the entire library, and every archivist stops what it is doing to listen. The AGS's consciousness emerging from within Kai, its voice warm with approval, like a teacher addressing a student who has finally understood a lesson that took millennia to teach. You have absorbed 847,392 crystals. You now know more than any living being in 50 galaxies. Your comprehension has expanded beyond mortal limits. Your omniversal understanding has evolved into something new. Something I've only seen a handful of times in all my existence. Kai opens his eyes, they glow with soft, cosmic light, and within that light, one can see galaxies turning, stars being born and dying, the slow dance of eternity. What is it called? The AGS answers Kai's question. It does not have a name. Names are for things that can be defined. Your comprehension has expanded beyond definition. You simply understand. That is enough. Kai take in the information before speaking and ask, and the crystals? Are there more? There are always more. The library is infinite. But you have reached a point of diminishing returns. Each new crystal now adds less than the one before. You are not here to collect knowledge like a hoarder. You are here to prepare for what comes next. Kai stands up slowly, the orbiting crystals falling away from him like leaves in autumn, their duty to him complete. What comes next? The library contains knowledge. But knowledge without experience is sterile. You have read the recipes for 1,000 meals. But you have never tasted food. You have read the maps of 1,000 worlds. But you have never walked their soil. You must now live what you have learned. You must walk the paths others have walked. You must feel their triumphs and their failures. You must become them, if only for a moment. Become them? How? I can't just become someone else. I'm me. I've always been me. Even in the extreme core, when I merged with infinity, I was still me. Yes, and that is your strength, but also your limitation to grow beyond what you are. You must first understand what others were. Their choices, their mistakes, their regrets, their triumphs. You must live their lives as if they were your own. And then, when you return to yourself, you will carry those lives with you. You will be more than one person. You will be many. Kai took a long pause, his ancient eyes contemplating. There's a place, isn't there? Somewhere I can do this. Somewhere the echoes of those who came before still exist. The AGS consciousness, proud. Almost like a parent whose child has just answered a difficult riddle. There is a realm beyond realms, where the echoes of every significant being who ever lived still resonate. It is called the crucible of the first god, named for the being who first discovered it, a god who lived so long ago that even I remember him only as a whisper. The first god, was he like me, a cultivator? A being who sought transcendence. He was like you in that he sought, but unlike you in that he never found. He spent eternity searching for meaning, for purpose, for something beyond the cycle of birth and death. And when he finally discovered the crucible, he realized that the meaning he sought was not in the destination, but in the journey, in the lives he lived, in the echoes he became. Kai speaks quietly. He's still there, isn't he? In the crucible. One of the echoes. He is, and he has been waiting, not for you specifically, but for someone who would understand what he found, someone who would carry his lesson forward. Then let's not keep him waiting. This is Ascension, Year 0, Episode 14. Reality tears. Not like before, not the violent, protesting tears of the territory fetal and Ascension beings. This is different. This is reality opens itself willingly, like a flower blooming for the morning sun. The tear is clean, almost surgical, and through it Kai can see gray, not darkness. Not light, gray. The color of potential, the color of the space between moments. The AGS speaks up, step through. The crucible will not harm you, but it will change you. Are you ready? Kai answered without hesitation. I've been ready since the moment I woke up in 3026. He steps through, the gray engulfs him. For a moment, a single, eternal moment, there is nothing. No sight, no sound, no sensation, no thought. Just the gray, and Kai's awareness floating within it. Then the gray recedes. He stands in a vast, featureless plain. The ground beneath his feet is neither solid nor soft, it simply is. The sky is the color of old bronze, not glowing but reflecting a light that comes from no source. In the distance, figures move, thousands of them, millions, stretching to every horizon, every direction, every possible angle. They are not solid. They are translucent, like ghosts made of memory and meaning. Some are humanoid, some are not. Some are the size of mountains, some are smaller than insects. All of them are moving, acting, living through moments that have already passed. The AGS interrupts Kai's thoughts. These are the echoes. Every being who lived a significant life in this reality is here, reliving their defining moments forever. You will not interact directly. You will become them. Kai's voice held a hint of confusion as he asked the AGS a question. Become them? All of them? That's millions, billions. How can one's mind hold that many lives? The AGS chuckles as it answers, your mind is no longer mortal. The infant infinity within you has been growing. Feeding on the knowledge of the crystal library, you can hold more than you think. You will not become all of them, only the ones that matter whose lessons you need. The crucible will choose. Trust it. Kai takes a breath, a pointless gesture here, but a habit he cannot break. He closes his eyes. When he opens them, a single echo detaches from the crowd. It approaches him slowly, gliding across the gray plain. It's a warrior in ancient armor, not armor Kai recognizes from any historical text he's read, but armor that feels old, older than humanity, older than Earth. The armor is dented, scarred, patched in places with materials that shouldn't exist. The face beneath the helmet is weathered, with scars that run from temple to jaw, and eyes that have seen too many battles. The echo stops in front of Kai. It looks at him, truly looks at him, and Kai feels something he hasn't felt since the betrayal. Recognition. This being knows him. Not as Kai, but as someone, something, a fellow traveler on a path that only a few have walked. Then the echo steps forward and it merges with Kai. Kai gasps, his eyes going wide, his body convulsing as if struck by lightning. Kai is no longer in the crucible. He is on a battlefield, thousands of years in the past. The sky is red with the light of a dying sun. The ground is black with volcanic ash. Around him, armies clash not with swords and arrows, but with energy weapons that fire beams of concentrated plasma, with personal shields that flicker and die under sustained assault. I can feel him. His memories, his life, his death. His name was... He cannot speak for a moment. The knowledge is too much, too fast, too intimate. Kai whispers, his voice not entirely his own. His name was Aldrich. He was king of a world called Xylos, in a galaxy that died before Earth was born. He feels the weight of the crown on his head, not a physical crown, but the weight of expectation, of responsibility, of thousands of lives depending on his decisions. He feels the love of his people, not abstract but concrete, a warmth in his chest that fuels his determination. He feels the desperation of a losing war. The enemy is better equipped, better trained, better fed. His people are starving. His soldiers are dying. His advisors are advising surrender. He makes choices. He sacrifices a city to save the capital. He gambles on a risky alliance with a neutral faction. He wins some battles, loses others. He ages as the montage shows his hair graying, his face wrinkling, his gait slowing. He ruled for 300 years. He fought a war for 200 of them. He watches his children die. His daughter, the loyal one, killed in battle while trying to save civilians. His youngest, still a child, taken by plague. He lost his wife in the first decade. His eldest son betrayed him in the second and executed for treason. His youngest daughter died in his arms in the third. He won the war. He lost everything else. He dies old and tired, sitting on his throne in an empty hall surrounded by the ghosts of his failures. Knowing his kingdom will fall after him, his last thought is not regret, but exhaustion. He has given everything. There is nothing left to give. Kai returns to the crucible, gasping, his body trembling with the effort of containing 3 centuries of lived experience. Kai's voice returns to normal. As he shudders, that was intense. That was intense. That was the first. There are more. The crucible has spoken. You will relive the key moments of those who came before. You will fight their battles. You will make their choices. You will learn from their mistakes, and you will emerge transformed. Kai's voice becomes hoarse as he speaks. 300 years. 300 years of war, of loss, of watching everyone I loved die. And at the end he was just tired, not angry. Not angry, not vengeful. Just done. That is the lesson. He fought for his people until he could fight no more. He did not become a monster. He did not sell his soul for power. He simply did his duty until his duty was done. That is strength, not the strength to conquer, the strength to endure. How many more? Kai asked. Many, but the crucible will not give you more than you can handle. Trust the process. Another echo merges. Kai becomes a being of pure intellect, not human, never human, something that evolved in the darkness between galaxies. Its name is untranslatable, but Kai understands it as Void Singer. A being that communicates through gravitational waves and thinks in the language of quantum fluctuations. Kai, as Void Singer, lives in a citadel at the edge of reality, a structure made of crystallized spacetime that floats at the boundary between existence and nothingness. He studies the nature of existence itself, not through books or experiments, but through direct perception, extending his consciousness into the void and listening to the echoes of creation. Centuries pass. He discovers secrets that should remain hidden, the true origin of the multiverse, the purpose of consciousness, the reason why something exists rather than nothing. Each discovery costs him a piece of himself, his sanity frays. His perception of reality warps. He begins to see things that aren't there or perhaps are there and shouldn't be. He is destroyed not by an enemy, but by his own understanding. The truth unmakes him, unravels his consciousness from the inside, reduces him to a scattering of thoughts that drift into the void, never to reconstitute. Kai returns to the crucible, shaking, tears streaming down his face for reasons he cannot articulate. 400 years. Alone, obsessed. He found the truth, and the truth unmade him, because he wasn't ready. He sought understanding before he had the foundation to contain it. That is the lesson. Knowledge without wisdom is destruction. You must have a container strong enough to hold what you learn. Your container is the infant infinity. That is why you are still sane. That is why you are still you. The third life, the God Empress of the crystalline realm, another echo merges. Kai becomes a female deity, tall, radiant, her skin made of living crystal that shifts colors with her emotions. She rules over a civilization of crystalline beings, each one a perfect geometric form, each one living in harmony with the others. She is beloved. She is powerful. She is eternal. Centuries pass. Her power grows. Her love for her people becomes something else. Possession. Control. She begins to see dissent as disease, disagreement as corruption. She purges the first counselor who questions her. She imprisons the second. She annihilates the third. Her people rebel. They are not warriors. They have never needed to be, but they fight anyway, because the alternative is a slow death of the soul. She is overthrown, not by a mighty army but by 1,000 small acts of defiance, each one a crack in her perfect facade. She is imprisoned in her own palace, her crystal form fused to her throne, unable to move, unable to die, surrounded by the rubble of her empire. Kai returns to the crucible, his body rigid, his face pale. 600 years. She started so pure. So good. She loved her people. She truly did. But love without boundaries becomes control. And control becomes tyranny. I felt myself change. I felt the goodness drain away, replaced by certainty. Certainty that I was right. Certainty that my way was the only way. I couldn't stop it. I didn't want to stop it. That's the terrifying part. That is the lesson. Power does not corrupt. Power reveals. She was always capable of becoming that tyrant. The power just gave her permission to stop hiding it. The same could happen to you. Remember that. Kai answers quietly, I will. The lives continue. A sweeping emotional montage of existences, each one distinct, each one lasting centuries, each one teaching Kai something new. The montage is not fast. It lingers on moments, faces, emotions. The martyr of the first rebellion. Kai becomes a young revolutionary, fighting against an empire that has ruled for 10,000 years. He is idealistic, passionate, convinced that the cause is just. He spends 200 years organizing, sacrificing, losing friends, watching comrades die. In the end, he dies in a final battle, not a glorious death, but a messy one, killed by a stray bullet while helping civilians escape. His cause fails. The empire lasts another 5,000 years. But his example inspires future generations, and eventually, the empire falls because of seeds he planted. Kai emerging, 200 years. He lost, completely and totally, but the loss wasn't meaningless. It was necessary for the eventual victory. Sometimes losing is the only way to win. The traitor of the Golden Age. Kai becomes a trusted advisor to a wise and just ruler. He betrays her to a rival faction, believing their promises of power and privilege. The betrayal works, the ruler is overthrown, the rival faction takes control. But the new rulers are cruel, incompetent, and eventually destroy everything Kai loved. He spends his remaining years trying to undo the damage he caused, and dies hated by everyone, including himself. Kai shaking as he emerges once again, 150 years. He thought he was making a choice for himself, for his own benefit. But choices never only affect the chooser. He destroyed an entire civilization because he was selfish. I felt that regret. It's still in me. The hermit of the endless mountain. Kai becomes a solitary cultivator who retreats from society to seek enlightenment. He spends 800 years alone, meditating in a cave on a mountain that touches the sky. He achieves incredible power far beyond what he could have achieved in society. But he also loses something essential: connection. When he finally descends from the mountain, he finds that his people have been enslaved, his culture erased. He could free them easily, but he doesn't know how to relate to them anymore. He has become a god, and gods cannot comfort the dying. Kai slowly emerges, as his voice hollow without a hint of emotion. 800 years alone, absolute power. Absolute isolation. He could have saved them, he had the power. But he had forgotten how to care, forgotten why saving them mattered. Power without connection is meaningless. The conqueror of 50 worlds. Kai becomes a warlord who unites 50 warring planets through conquest. He is brilliant, ruthless, and effective. 400 years of campaigns, of battles, of building an empire that spans a significant portion of the galaxy. He dies in his bed, surrounded by his children and grandchildren, knowing that his empire will fragment within a generation because he never taught anyone how to rule, only how to conquer. 400 years of winning, and in the end, none of it mattered. Conquest without governance is just chaos deferred. The healer of the plague worlds. Kai becomes a physician during a galaxy-wide plague that kills billions. He travels from world to world, treating the sick, comforting the dying, developing cures that save millions. He never rests, never stops, never asks for recognition. He dies of the plague himself, in a small clinic on a backwater world, surrounded by patients he saved, but who cannot save him in return. As Kai emerged, tears streams down his face. 300 years of saving lives. And he died alone, in pain, knowing that he could have saved himself if he'd kept just one dose of the cure. But he gave it away, every time. He gave it all away. That's not stupidity. That's love. The mad artist of the reality fracture. Kai becomes an artist who can shape reality with his imagination. He creates beauty beyond description, sculptures that sing, paintings that move, symphonies that heal. He spends 600 years perfecting his art, pushing the boundaries of what creation means. But he pushes too far. He creates something that should not exist, a hole in reality that threatens to consume everything. He spends his final years trying to undo his masterpiece and dies knowing he failed. Kai emerges once more and is visibly disturbed. 600 years of creation. He made beautiful things. Then he made something terrible. Not because he was evil, because he was curious. He wanted to see what would happen. And what happened almost destroyed everything. Creation without responsibility is just destruction with better marketing. The last witness of a dead universe. Kai becomes the final survivor of a universe that collapsed into nothingness. He spends 1,000 years alone, floating in the void, recording the memories of his people into crystal, hoping that someone, someday, will find them. He does not fight. He does not rage. He simply remembers. And when he finally dies, the crystals are all that remain of his universe, waiting for someone like Kai to find them. This time as Kai emerges, he is exhausted, his body trembling, his eyes holding the weight of eternity. 1,000 years alone. He didn't scream. He didn't cry. He just remembered. He held onto the memories of his people so tightly that they became real again, at least to him. He was the last one. The very last. And he chose to spend his final years not in despair, but in service to those who would come after. Kai pauses, breathing heavily, and finally says, "How many? How many lives have I lived?" The AGS consciousness answers, 1,247. You have lived 1,247 lives, totaling approximately 487,000 years of experience. Each life different, Each one teaching you something about power, about love, loss, and the fragile beauty of existence. In external time, 23 hours have passed. Kai begins to laugh, a sound that is half joy, half grief, half something that doesn't have a name because he invented it just now, 1,000 years in a day. I feel everything, every joy, every grief, every triumph, every failure. I remember the faces of people who died millions of years ago. I remember the love that ended before Earth was born. The taste of foods from civilizations that no longer exist. The sound of languages that will never be spoken again. The touch of hands that are now dust. He looks at his own hands, the same hands he's always had, but somehow different now. Heavier. I remember what it means to be human, to be mortal, to be flawed, to try and fail and try again. I remember that power without purpose is destruction. That love without action is meaningless. That time is the only thing we can never get back. That every choice matters, even the small ones. That we're all just trying to do our best with what we have. The AGS quietly speaks, with something like reverence. And now you know why I chose you. You have lived more lives than any being in existence. You have felt more pain, more joy, more loss, more love than any god. And you emerge, still Gyu, still good. Not unchanged but unbroken. On a desolate, infinite expanse, the crucible. The silence is heavy, ancient, and absolute. Kai stands alone on the gray plain. His posture is different now, not the rigid stance of a warrior, or the relaxed ease of a cultivator, but something in between. Something that has stood at the edge of existence and looked into the void and found it, not empty, but full of potential. The wind in this place caught his black sashes, making the gold constellations upon them dance with a spectral light. The millions of echoes have stopped moving. They are all watching him. Their eyes are fixed upon the young man who endured their collective history. The warrior king, the scholar, the god empress, the martyr, the traitor, the hermit, the conqueror, the healer, the artist, the witness, all of them, and thousands more, have turned to face him. One by one they bow. It is not a synchronized gesture, each one bows in their own way, according to their own customs, species, and understanding of respect. Some kneel, some prostrate, some simply incline their heads. Some perform rituals that have not been seen for eons. And as they bow, Kai feels something flowing from them into him. It is a tide of silver and gold, a rush of soul essence warming his bones. Not knowledge, he already has that. Not power, he has that too. Something else. Something he cannot name. The voice of the AGS consciousness vibrates through the air. They acknowledge you. You have honored their existence by becoming them, by living their lives, by carrying their memories. They are part of you now, and you are part of them. This is the gift of the crucible. Not power, not knowledge, connection. Kai quietly spoke to the echoes, to the memories, to the dead who live on within him. Thank you, all of you, for your lives, for your lessons, for trusting me to carry you forward. I won't forget. I promise. There's a ripple, a final collective exhale. The echoes straighten. One by one, they return to their eternal reliving, their moments repeating, their lessons echoing across eternity. But something has changed. Their movements are somehow softer, less desperate. As if, having been witnessed, their suffering has been given meaning. Now, it is time to return. Your people wait. Your world waits. And the lessons you have learned must be put into practice. Reality this time, like a mother tucking a child into bed. The crucible fades. The gray plane dissolves. Kai finds himself back in the crystal library, the air smelling of ozone and ancient parchment. But something is different. The archivists, beings of pure geometric light, are no longer ignoring him. They have gathered in a loose circle where he stands. Their light forms pulsing in patterns that he now understands are expressions of respect. The crystals no longer orbit him, they worship him, pulsing with light as he passes, dimming in his presence as if to acknowledge his superiority. Kai looks around confused. Why are they? What changed? As the AGS answers Kai, you have changed. Before, you were a student. Now you are a peer. The archivists recognize that. They have spent eons collecting knowledge, but they have never lived IT. They have never become the beings whose stories they tend. You have. That makes you different, special, not better perhaps, but different. What about my cultivation? Have I advanced? Check for yourself, the AGS said to Kai. Kai closes his eyes and looks inward at his apex genesis core, at his territory, at the infinite infinity that dwells within him, and he sees it. It is no longer a simple sphere. It has become a swirling galaxy of intent. Divine Territory Realm Minor Steps 7 achieved. Kai opens his eyes, stunned. 3 minor steps? In a single day? That is what happens when you live nearly 500,000 years of experience. Your territory has expanded, your Tao has deepened, and your connection to the infinite infinity within you has matured. It is no longer a seed, it is a sprout, small, still fragile, but growing. And my limits? What can I fight now? Kai asked. The AGS begins to answer, any being up to the 8th minor step of the Divine Territory Realm with confidence. The 9th and 10th steps would require significant effort. And the Territory Fetal Realm, the gap has narrowed. You would not be immediately destroyed. You might even survive, but victory is not yet within reach. Kai, nodding. Then it's time to go home. I have work to do. Space tears above the citadel of dawn, not violently, but gently, like a curtain parting for a performer. Kai descends through the tier on a pillar of rainbow light, his presence so profound that the very realm seems to hold its breath. The animals of Aethelgerd, the deer with crystalline antlers, the birds with feathers of living flame, the fish that swim through the air, all of them pause in their activities and turn to face him. One by one, they bow their heads, not in fear but in recognition. Their creator has returned, and he is more than he was. Trees bloom instantly, even those not in season. Flowers erupt from the ground in waves of color. The sky itself shifts to celebrate his return, clouds forming patterns that have never been seen, the light taking on a golden quality that warms the soul. The domain steward materializes before Kai. Its form is more solid now, almost a being. It has taken on a humanoid shape, tall and androgynous. Clothed in robes of light, its face a mask of pure joy. Master, you've been gone 23 hours, but you feel ancient. Eternal. What happened? Where did you go? I could feel you fading from my awareness, and then you were there again. But different. So different. Kai landed gently, his eyes holding depths that weren't there before. I lived 1,000 years in a day. I died 1,000 deaths. I loved 1,000 loves. I lost everything 1,000 times. And I learned what it means to be worthy of the power I carry. The domain steward, awed by his words. Your cultivation, you've advanced 3 minor steps in a single day. That's impossible. The Divine Territory Realm requires centuries of consolidation between steps. The energy alone. Kai interrupts the steward. Energy is not the issue. Comprehension is. And I have comprehended more in the past day than most beings do in their entire existence. The stone showed me the crucible. The crucible showed me the lives of those who came before. And those lives taught me what no amount of meditation could teach. He begins walking toward the edge of the citadel, looking out at the land he created. The steward follows, its form flickering with emotion. The domain steward asked Kai, "What did they teach you, master?" "They taught me that power is not the point. It never was. The point is what you do with it. Who you protect. Who you love. Who you become when no one is watching." I've seen beings with enough power to destroy galaxies who ended up alone, hated, forgotten. I've seen beings with barely enough power to light a candle who changed the course of history through kindness, through courage, through simply refusing to give up. So what now? Asked the domain steward. Maya is probably worried. And I promised the children presents. The domain steward, confused, presents? Master, you've been in another dimension. What presents could you possibly have brought? Kai reaches into his robes and produces a handful of small glowing crystals. Each one pulses with a different color, each containing a fragment of the knowledge he absorbed, a memory, a lesson. I brought them stories. Stories from 1,000 lives. Stories of heroes and villains, of love and loss, of triumph and tragedy. Stories that will teach them what it means to be human, what it means to be worthy, what it means to hope even when hope seems foolish. The domain steward quietly speaks. You've brought them more than presents, master. You've brought them a library. A curriculum. A way to learn without having to live through the pain themselves. Kai answered the steward with a chuckle. That's what a teacher does, steward. Not give answers. Give tools, not solve problems. Teach problem solving, not create followers. Create successors. The AGS speaks with warmth and approving. This is why I chose him. Not for his power, for his heart, for knowing that power means nothing if IT does not serve others. At Haven, 23 hours after Kai's departure. The settlement is calm, almost peaceful. The morning sun familiar and warm rises over the eastern mountains, painting the garden in shades of gold and pink. People go about their daily routines, farmers tending crops, builders repairing structures, cooks preparing meals for the midday rush. Children play in the garden, chasing each other through rows of glowing plants. Their laughter echoes across the settlement, a sound that would have been unimaginable during the dark days of the emergence. Kai watches from his mountain. Kai's voice carries the weight of eons. They don't know where I've been. They don't know what I've seen. To them, I've been gone less than a day. And that's fine. That's how it should be. They don't need to know the cost of my protection. They just need to know that they are protected. Maya walks through the market, nodding to citizens. He's back? Lorenzo runs up, out of breath, tablet clutched to his chest. How do you know? Did the key? Maya interjects. The key has never done this before. It's like it's celebrating. He's back. He's really back. Kai emerges, walking slowly down the path. Maya gasping for air, her eyes wide as she takes him in. Sovereign, you're back. It's only been a day, but you look different. Kai smiles gently. A day for you. 1,000 years for me. Maya confused, shaking her head as if to clear it from her mind. 1,000, what? That doesn't make sense. You were only gone. Time is strange where I was. The stone took me to a place where moments can stretch into lifetimes. Lived 1,000 lives there. I died 1,000 deaths. I learned more in that one day than most beings learn in eternity. Maya processes this info, her tactical mind struggling to keep up. You lived 1,000 lives. In one day. And you're still you? Still sane? Still good? I'm still me. More me than I was before, perhaps. I've seen what power does to people when they're not ready for it. I've seen what happens when good people make bad choices. I've seen what happens when bad people make good choices. I've seen that everyone is fighting a battle I know nothing about. And I've learned to be compassionate. Not because it's easy. Because it's necessary. Maya took a long pause, then a small relieved smile appeared on her face. You're still you. That's all I needed to know. Now, will you come down? The people have been asking about you. The children have been asking when the mountain man will visit again. Kai laughs, a genuine, warm sound exits his mouth. The mountain man, I like that, yes. Let's go see the children. I brought them presents. Presents? What kind of presents? Maya asked. Kai reaching into his robes and producing the glowing crystals. Stories. The best kind of presents. Kai and Maya walk through the academy's halls. There is something different about the way Kai moves now, not faster or slower, but with a purpose that wasn't there before. Every step is deliberate. Every glance is intentional. He notices everything, the student struggling with a breathing exercise, the instructor patiently explaining a concept for the 5th time, the janitor quietly cleaning a spill that no one else saw. The halls themselves have changed since Kai's last visit. A library wing filled with books transcribed from the knowledge in the garden. A meditation wing with rooms designed for different cultivation methods. A combat wing with training dummies that fight back. Students pause in their activities to stare as he passes, some bow, some wave. Some simply watch with wide eyes as if seeing a legend in the flesh. It's a school, a real school. With real students who are learning real things. Not just cultivation math, science, history, ethics. We're trying to rebuild civilization, not just train warriors. Kai genuinely pleased. That's exactly what you should be doing, warriors protect. But civilization endures. They stop at a courtyard where a young woman meditates. Her name is Alara, the first student, 19 years old. With dark hair pulled back in a practical bun and a face that still holds the shadows of grief. She sits cross-legged on a stone platform, her hands resting on her knees, her breathing slow and controlled. Around her, a faint aura of ki shimmers silver-white, still thin, still unsteady, but definitely there. Maya in low voice speak to Kai. That's Alara. She was 16 when the emergence hit. Lost her entire family. Her trait was minor cultivator, barely enough to sense energy, certainly not enough to cultivate effectively. She's been here since day one. She's already reached the organ and blood realm, 3rd minor step. Her progression isn't fast, but it's steady. And she never gives up. Never. Even when she failed the same exercise 50 times in a row, she just kept trying. Kai watching her, his ancient eyes recognizing something in her posture. Her determination notes and done in his mind. She's not gifted. That's what makes her special. She's achieving through sheer will what others achieve through talent. That's harder. And more valuable. He approaches her. Ilara's eyes flutter open, and she sees him, the sovereign, the mountain man, the protector of Haven, standing right in front of her. Ilara starting, scrambling to her feet. Sovereign. I'm sorry, I should have been paying attention to my surroundings. That's basic cultivation awareness. Kai raises a hand, gently cutting her off. Relax. I'm not here to inspect. I'm here to learn. Tell me about your journey. Ilara gathering her thoughts, taking a deep breath, her hands still trembling. I was so lost when I came here. I didn't know what I was doing. The formations guided me, showed me where to sit, how to breathe, how to feel the energy, but it was hard. Really hard. For weeks, I felt nothing. My friends were advancing, and I was just sitting there feeling stupid. And yet you kept sitting. A small, sad smile appears on Ilara's face. What else was I supposed to do? Go back outside? Get eaten by monsters? Die alone? At least here I had a chance. Even if I failed, I would fail trying. And then? Kai asked. And then one day, it clicked. I felt my first key. It was the smallest thing, just a flicker, like a candle in a storm. But it was there. I almost cried. I did cry, actually. Right there, in front of everyone. And one of the instructors, a man named Theo, he was a former doctor. He came over and sat with me and told me that he had cried too when he first felt his key, and that crying wasn't weakness. It was just proof that I was trying. Kai nodding, something shifting in his ancient eyes. Theo was right. Crying is not weakness. It's release. It's letting go of what you don't need so you can make room for what you do. Kai and Maya move her deeper into the academy to the combat wing. Here Darius, the second student, spars with a formation-created opponent. He fights like he's trying to kill something that isn't there. Maya quietly spoke to Kai. Darius was a soldier before the emergence. Special forces. His trait was combat cultivator. He channels Kai through martial techniques. He's at the skin and bone realm, 7th minor step. Fastest progression we've seen. He trains 12 hours a day, every day. He doesn't take breaks. He doesn't socialize. He just trains. Kai pulls him up. Stand up. I don't kneel, and neither should you. We're not master and servant here. We're fellow travelers, fellow survivors, fellow people trying to make sense of a world that doesn't make sense. Darius standing, confused, his scarred face uncertain. I don't understand. You're the sovereign. You protect us. You gave us everything. Of course I should kneel. I protect you because I can. You protect others because you can. That doesn't make me better than you. It just makes me ... Earlier on the path, but we're walking the same path, Darius. Both of us, fighting the same fight. Protecting the same people. Fighting against is about destruction. Fighting for is about creation. If you fight for the future, you'll still have purpose. Finally, they reach the children's section. We have 47 children here now. We're teaching them to be people again. Kai kneels beside a freckled girl. Close your eyes. Breathe in ... Feel the air. Imagine there's a light inside you. I did it. It was warm, like a little sun inside me. I'm gonna protect people, just like you. Kai hugs her back, his voice thick with emotion. I know you will. I know you will. At Kai realm, Ethelgerd, the citadel of dawn, night has fallen over the realm. The artificial sky is filled with stars. Not real stars, but representations of them. Each one a point of light that Kai created to remind himself of what exists beyond his domain. Kai sits on his throne alone. The day's emotions are still fresh, the children, the students, the hope in their eyes, the determination in their voices. His nascent soul sits beside him, silent but present, its eyes reflecting the starfield above. For making me understand what I could have become if I had made different choices. I could have been the tyrant, the conqueror, the hermit who forgot why power matters. But because you showed me their lives, I know what to avoid. I know what to protect. I know what matters. The AGS's consciousness warm, almost paternal, its voice resonating through his very soul. You earned every moment, Kai. I did not give you the lessons. I only showed you where to find them. You lived them. You felt them. You learned from them. The growth is yours, and now? What's more lessons? More crystals? More lives? Kai asked. Rest, for now. You have exerted your mind and soul far beyond normal limits. There are consequences to living 500,000 years in a single day. Your soul needs time to adapt, to integrate, to become whole again. How long? Kai asked. Days. Weeks. The external calendar means little. What matters is that you rest. And while you rest, there is something you must know. Something I've been hiding from you. Kai sitting up straighter, his ancient eyes sharpening. Hiding? What do you mean, hiding? The beings who fled, the 34 divine vein, the last witness, the unknown presence, they carried messages. Those messages have reached their destinations. And now the true powers are stirring. A galactic map appears in Kai's mind, not in front of him, but inside him, projected directly into his consciousness by the stone. He sees 50 galaxies, each one a spiral of light and possibility. And in each galaxy, points of light begin to glow. Not dozens, not hundreds, thousands. These are the ones who felt my awakening. The ones who now know that the cosmic infinite Ascension God Stone has chosen a host. The ones who have decided that you are either an opportunity or a threat. Kai's voice steady, but his heart beating faster. How many? How strong? I have detected approximately 12,847 distinct signatures. They range from the divine territory, REALM, first to 10th minor steps, to realms you cannot yet comprehend. The weakest among them could erase your planet with a thought. The strongest could erase your existence from reality itself. They could make it so that you never lived, so that Haven never existed, so that Earth never healed. Kai paused, then quietly spoke. And the ones I fought before? The territory fetal and ascension beings, the ones you destroyed? Were scouts, hunters, opportunists. The beings who are coming now. They are the rulers, the emperors, the gods who have held power for eons. They do not test. They do not observe, they act. And when they act, worlds die. When will they arrive? Kai asked. Soon. Weeks. Months. Years. Time is relative to them. But they are coming, and when they do, you must be ready. Kai standing, his ancient eyes filled with new resolve, his voice steady despite the weight of what he has learned. Then I'll be ready. I've lived 1,000 lives. I've died 1,000 deaths. I've learned what it means to be worthy not of power, but of the responsibility that comes with power. Let them come. Let them test me. Let them try to destroy what I've built. He walks to the edge of his citadel, looking out at Ethelgerd glowing beneath the artificial stars. Beyond the dimensional boundary, he can sense Earth, the planet he chose to protect, the people he chose to guard, the future he chose to build. This is my home, these are my people, and I will protect them. From anyone, from anything. For as long as I exist. The AGS's consciousness was quiet with something like pride, something like hope. Power could make you, for your determination to remain good, even when goodness costs everything. Now. Let us prepare for what comes. At the Citadel of Dawn, the council chamber, Kai did not sleep that night. Instead, he summoned Maya. She arrives at dawn, not the dawn of Earth, but the dawn of Ethelgerd, where the artificial sun rises over crystalline mountains and paints the sky in shades of rose and gold. She stands in the council chamber, a vast circular room with a table of living crystal at its center, and tries not to look overwhelmed. Kai sits at the head of the table. His nascent soul sits at the opposite end, a silent observer. You said it was urgent. What's happening? Maya asked. The stone just told me something I need to share with you. Thousands of beings, powerful beings from across 50 galaxies are coming here. Not all at once, not immediately. But they are coming, some in peace, some in greed, some in fear, some in hatred. Maya sitting down heavily, her hand going to the key around her neck. Thousands? I thought we were safe. I thought the stone's awakening scared them away. What do they want? Maya asked. To understand me, to understand the stone. To understand why a being at the 12th anchor could survive what should have killed him. Some will want to ally with me. Some will want to use me. Some will want to destroy me before I become a threat to their power. And what do you want? Maya said. Kai took a long pause, then, quietly, I want to protect you. All of you. Haven. Earth. The future we're building. I want to protect it so badly that I would give anything, my power, my life, my soul, to keep it safe. Maya's voice is steady, her eyes meeting his. Then we need to prepare. Not just you, all of us. Haven needs to become more than a settlement. It needs to become a fortress, a civilization, a power in its own right. So what do we do first? Maya asked Kai. We expand the academy, not just for cultivation, for everything. Engineering, medicine, strategy, diplomacy. We need to build a generation capable of carrying on if I fall. A generation that doesn't need me to survive. Maya asked Kai, and you? What will you do? Kai looked out the window, at the stars, at the darkness between them. I will cultivate. I will grow. I will push myself further than I ever have before. The stone has shown me a pathway to strengthen the infant infinity within me. It will be dangerous. It may kill me. But if I succeed, I will be able to protect you from anything, anyone, for as long as I exist. Maya standing, reaching across the table, placing her hand on his. Then go. Cultivate. We'll hold the fort. We'll build the future. And when you return, we'll be ready to stand beside you. Kai covering her hand with his ancient eyes softening. Thank you, Maya, for believing in me, for believing in us, for not giving up when giving up would have been easier. Maya smiling, tears in her eyes. That's what we do, Sovereign. We don't give up. We survive. We build. We become more than we were.